Hi everyone, this is going to be a shorter video today because I would like you to watch the Brain Pop video that is also linked on the at-home learning calendar. But we're going to go ahead and start with the lesson. You'll watch the video on Brain Pop, and I will also review with you the vocabulary words that are going to be covered today. So let's go ahead and get started with some mental math and fluency. And we're going to talk about this problem first. The whole of the is a group of 6. So what is 1/6 of 6? Your answer would be 1, because 1/6 out of 6 as the whole would be 1. 3/6 of 6 would be 3. And take a guess, 5/6 of 6 would be, that's right, 5. All right, now we're going to go ahead and look at the next one. It says the whole is a group of 8. What is 2/8 of 8? And we would say 2/8 of 8 is 2. 0/8 of a group of 8 is 0. And 8/8 of a group of 8 is 8. Great work. All right, when you look at the shape in front of you, you might identify it as a square. And one of the things that makes it a square is it has 4 equal sides. It also has 4 right angles. Another thing that you're going to notice about this square is it's 2D or two-dimensional. And we know that it's two-dimensional because it's flat. It only has a width and a length. The square pattern block is three-dimensional or 3D. Another way that you can look at it is by looking at this image. This image is not exactly a square pattern block, but it is different than that. It is called a cube. And we would say that it has multiple sides because it has multiple faces. This is an example of what's called a polyhedron. And it is three-dimensional. And you'll see that it has different faces, such as if you look right here at this right here, this is called a face. And you can see that the shape of the face is a square. So we could say that it has faces that are squares. And let's go ahead and try to count how many faces that this cube has. So we already did 1. And if we keep going around, there's 2. I'll do another one. 3 along the back side. You can kind of see over there. 4. And then we've got the bottom. 5. And the top. 6. So we would say that there are 4 faces around it. And then 5 and 6 are the top and the bottom. So we would say 6 faces. And those faces are made of squares. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about faces and other kinds of attributes of prisms, which are a type of polyhedron. So we could also say that this is a prism. All right, now I would like you to log into BrainPop Junior to watch the assigned video about solid shapes. It's linked on your 3rd grade at-home calendar. And if you do not remember how to log in to BrainPop, please go ahead and check your emails from a past email from Mrs. Hendricks, or you're welcome to quick email Mrs. Denowden if you're getting stuck on that. Go ahead and watch that now, and then come back here for the remainder of the lesson. All right, I'd like to review a little bit about what you watched in the video. You'll see here in the first one, they're talking about triangular prisms, and you can see that these are labeled as the bases, and they are triangular prisms because their base is a triangle and it would stand on those. If you look at this area right here, that's called the face, like we talked about before, and the face would be the shape of a rectangle, and that's pretty typical for those prisms like that. I also want to talk about edges. Remember, the edge is where the two faces come together and they're straight. And so we have an edge here, and we have an edge over here, and an edge over here. We also have some edges here where the face meets up with the base, and so I'm kind of tracing over those. Those are called the edges. So I'll write that down below, edges. And then the last thing I want to review on the triangular prism is the vertex or vertices. If there's more than one, it's vertices. So here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, and here's one. And the vertices are where the edges meet together. Let's look at our rectangular prism. We're going to first talk about the bases. And so the bases of a rectangular prism are going to be rectangular shaped. So here's a base and here's a base. And then you'll also notice that we have faces. And you can see how the bases are the same. And then the faces, let me get a different color real quick. Here's a face, and here's a face, and over here there's a face. This whole thing is a face, and on the other side there's a face. And then we have our vertices. Remember, our vertices are where those edges come together. And so for this rectangular prism, we have 8 vertices. And then when we're talking about edges, we're talking about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we would have 12 edges for that. All right, today we're going to open up our math journals to page 273. This is the only math journal page that we're going to do today because a lot of it was just kind of watching the videos and kind of going through and learning about the different solid shapes. So for number 1, we are going to draw a square, and we remember that a square has sides that are all the same length, and they would like the sides to be 1 1/4 inch sides. And remember, a square has 4 sides, so I want to see 4 equal sides there. And then this is an extended fact triangle, so you're going to do 2 multiplication problems and 2 division problems. You need to figure out what goes in here, and I'm going to give you a hint. This is the product, so it's going to be the bigger number. So what happens when you multiply 60 times 5? That's going to get you what your product is. So I'll give you a heads up on that one. Then it says write the equivalent fractions for 0, 1, and 2. You need to be counting these spaces in between to figure out how many sections each of those is divided at. And then don't forget this part. Mark a point at 5/4. Number 4, write 2 fractions that name the point marked on the number line. So I would go ahead and look and see how many sections is this divided into first, and then try to come up with 2 different names for that point right there. And lastly, Taylor says that another name for one whole on the number line in problem 3, so right up here for this one, could be 4/4. Do you agree that 4/4 is the same as one whole? Explain your answer. So there is that. For the home link today, it's a little bit different, and I think it's kind of fun. So we'll go to that next. Your paper looks a little bit different because it's blue, but it also has like a little cut line here. So I want you to start by just cutting that part off. And the part that you're going to upload to show me is going to just be this part. You don't have to worry about uploading the bottom part. Just create it yourself. You can have it in the background of the image, but this is the part I would like you to upload. So it says cut on the dashed lines, fold on the dotted lines. So you can see this is the dashed, and then the other ones right here, those are the fold lines. Be really careful because otherwise it can get a little frustrating. And it says tape or paste, I really recommend tape, each tab inside or outside the shape. And then you have to discuss the following questions. What shapes are the bases? And if you can't remember, you might want to go back and watch this lesson again. It might help you. And then number 2, what shapes are the other faces? If you don't remember this vocab, go back to the lesson. How many faces are there that are not bases? And then what would we call this 3-dimensional shape? Remember that prisms are named for the shape of their bases. So I would kind of go back up to this question and it might help you with it a little bit. I hope that this lesson goes well for you and that you have a fun time doing something a little bit different today for math. Have a great day. Bye.